Hello all, welcome to this online recording sessions in data science. So in this session we are going to see some more features of Python. Okay, so we have seen the introduction to Python, how we need to get started, how we need to take input, and how we can get output in the previous session, right? So now we are going to see the actual fundamentals of Python, like how to use for loops, how to use functions, how to handle exceptions, how to use pandas, numpy libraries. So all those things we are going to see in these slides. Okay, operators. What are operators? Okay, we are starting with operators. So what are operators? Okay, so they perform some operations. So if you take any variable or any value, so in order to perform some operation with that another variable or another value, we need operations. So in Python we have arithmetic operators, relational operators, and logical operators. So let us see one by one and their preceding order. Okay, so coming to first, the arithmetic operators. They are used to perform arithmetic calculations. Okay, arithmetic calculations means addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, floor division. Okay, addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, floor division. So most of them will be confusing. What is this meaning? What is this meaning? This is floor division, and this is modulus. So if you use modulus, you'll get remainder as an answer. Okay, remainder as a answer. Okay, if you use floor division, we'll get quotient as answer. Okay, that we can remember. Then comes the exponential. Okay, so these are some of the main arithmetic operators in Python. Okay, so next, unary operator means plus, minus. Okay, unary plus and unary minus. So in arithmetic also these are special kinds of operators. Those are unary operators. Okay, next, binary operators. You can see addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. Okay, they perform on two operands. Okay, whereas in unary operators they require one operand. Okay, in binary operands, operators that will work on two operands. Okay, so now let us see. Okay, so these all are the examples. So you can perform some simple calculations like addition, subtraction, multiplication, division by taking two variables a and b as an input from the user, and you can do, I think you can write on your own the the code part. Okay, just use these symbols, you'll get it. Okay, and try to see the while we are getting output. Okay, so next we are going to see relational operators. Relational operators are, they determine the relation among different operands. Okay, whether it is comparison, whether it is true or false. So in that case we will use relational operator. Okay, there are 7 relational operators: less than or equal to, greater than or equal to, or not equal to. Okay, so we have 7 relational operators, and examples you can explore it. Okay, while using simple calculation you can use these operators in that. Okay, so when to use, if our equation or if our expression is in consisting of both arithmetic operation and relational operators, so what is the order of the precedings that we need to know, right? So the order of the precedings will be like this. Okay, first which operator, parenthesis, then exponential, then positive, negative. That includes unary operator also, multiplication, division, floor division, modulus. Then comes addition, subtraction. Like BODMAS, how you will use BODMAS in mathematics. Okay, so similar to that you can remember this also, order of precedence. Okay, so next we will talk about logical operators. So logical operators are used to combine existing expressions. They are or, and, not. Okay, So these are the three logical operators, okay, that you can use. Whether to indicate true or false also you can use this logical operators. Okay. Next we have some other special operators also. OR operator also you have, AND operator we also have. Okay. And this is the NOT operator also you have. So this is the order of proceedings as we have seen. So if you use operators and variables together, we can form expressions. So we can generate different expressions using different operators like arithmetic expression, relational expression, logical expression as shown below. Okay, x and y, a or b, not x or not y, like this. Okay, x greater than y. So like this you can generate expressions. Okay. So next, so we have seen different data types like int, float, string, complex, right? So now we will see type conversion. So what is type conversion? So converting one form of data type into another type of data type is called as type conversion. Okay, and it is of two types. One is implicit conversion, and the other one is explicit conversion. Okay. So in implicit conversion, the system itself will convert the data type from one data type to another data type. Whereas in explicit type of conversion, we need to do manually. Manually we need to calculate it. So we can take one example and we'll try to see it, okay, practically. Okay, we have seen implicit type conversion. Explicit type conversion also. So in explicit type conversion, see, we are converting. So here is a and b, a and str string. Okay, so we are trying to add it. So we are trying to add these two. Okay, so if you are not type converting, if you are not doing type conversion, they will just align themselves, and then you could see the same output there. Okay, so we want to perform some operation, right? So that's why we need to do type conversion. See, so this variable we are converting into integer type. Okay, we are giving the code. In the code we are trying to convert it, this variable. Okay, this value we are trying to convert it. So this is explicit conversion. So in addition, you could see the result as this 579. If you are not doing this conversion, what will happen? 1, 2, 3. So it will just align with this a value. It will just align, it will attach. That's it. If you are not doing conversion. Okay. So that is the case with the implicit conversion also. Implicit conversion, you see, we are given integer as 123, float as 1.23, and then we are adding both. Okay. So result, you see, we are getting 124.23. We have not done any type conversion. Okay. So integer to float means system will do. System will itself can understand and do implicit conversion. But whereas if strings are getting involved now, we need to do manually conversion. So that conversion is called explicit conversion. Okay. So this is explicit conversion. Okay. So while we are doing explicit conversion, it will be also called as typecasting, since we are converting them. Okay. Okay. Next, we will see some of the conditional structures. Okay. So conditional structures means, so we will take input and we'll take some conditions into it. Okay. So there are three types of conditional structures. So three types of statements. One is empty statement, where we use pass keyword. So here we can use just only the print statements or logic, or it can be empty also. Okay. So if our statement is empty, then we can use pass keyword. Okay, to indicate that is empty condition. Okay, and that statement is empty. Okay, So simple and single statements meant it will be simple, like print, input and all. Okay. So whereas compound statements, we will use head and body. Okay, head and body. So this head can be if, while, for. Okay, so this is the head in compound statements. In body, we will write, so what else the logic part comes for the if, what else the logic part comes for the while, what for. Okay, so like this separately we will write body part for each of this header part in case of compound statements. So let us see these empty statements. Okay, so if you observe this example, this is a empty statement. Okay, so if a greater than or equal to 10, what I need to do? If that condition is true, I need to do something, right? So since I have not written anything, I need to give pass as a keyword. Then system will understand it is an empty statement. So next it will go to the other lines of code if you are giving pass. Okay, so if you are not giving, you may get error. Okay, this is empty statement. Next, simple statement. So in simple statement, see, you don't have any single executable statement. Okay, any single executable statement in Python. Okay, so we have only just executable statements. Okay, we don't have any conditions here. So that is simple statement. Okay. Okay, then we have compound statements, as I mentioned. So in compound statements, we have header and we have body. Okay, so this is header line, this is body line. Okay, so in header we are using if, in body we are using the statement or outputs that we want to print. Okay, selection statements are also called conditional statements sometimes. Okay, okay, yeah. So let us see one by one. So what are the conditional statements that we will be having? So we will be having simple if, simple if else, simple, sorry, it will be not called as simple if else, and what else? Nested if else, elif. Okay, so we'll have all these conditional statements. Okay, so we will see one by one. So in simple if statement, you see only the if statement is present. So if the condition is true, then only execute that statement. Okay, so if you have only one condition, you can go with if statement. Okay, so you can see here, if choice equal to 1, then increment, then print this. Okay, else part. So if you have two conditions, okay, then you can go with if else. Okay, if else part. So if that condition is true, use that statement that is should be there in if. So if it is not true, then go to else part. So if two conditions are there, use if else. Okay, so if one condition is there, we can go with simple if. Okay, simple if. Okay, see, this is the example. Okay, even or odd. Okay, you are taking an input. So if number divided by 2, then we are called as even number, else it is an odd number. So this is the best example for simple if else. Nested if statements. So nested if statements, when we want one decision to depend on the result of earlier decisions. Okay, say suppose if I am performing some calculations. Okay, so let us say, let us take one example. Okay, so let us take this example. Okay, so this is nested if. Okay, so this is nested if statement. So in if, I am using another if. So here this if statement is depending upon the previous if statement. Okay, so science stream. So general science stream comes in 11th standard or 12th standard. Okay, so first we need to check whether the student is 11th standard, 12th standard or below standard. Okay, So then only if he is 11th standard, then only come to another condition. Okay. So here what is happening? One statement is depending on the other statement. Okay. So in if else we have two statements. Okay, two conditions. But here our conditions are depending upon the another conditions. So in this case we will use nested if. When conditions are depending upon another conditions, we will use nested if. Okay. So this if is depending on the another if. So that's why we will use nested if. So print this if this is the case. So else use this. Okay. So similarly for nesting of if else. So in nesting of if else what happens? So we have taken simple if else, right? So in if else we have another if else. So that is nesting of if else. Okay. So nesting of if means in if we'll have another if. So but in nesting of if else we'll have in if else we have another if else's. So here also we can have another if else also. So you can have a syntax. Okay. So in normal programs like Java and remaining programs, so we will have curly brackets, okay, or flower brackets like this. So if statements, you need to see brackets very descending. Okay. But here in Python, we will use this symbols, indentation symbols. And remember, you shouldn't give any white space like this. But I am returning here, you shouldn't use any white spaces in between. Okay. So if it is a variable, it should be a variable. If you want to give a space, use underscore. Okay. So this will be acting like a opening bracket. This will be acting like a closing bracket. Okay. So in this if, I am having another if else. Okay. So you can see here. Okay. So largest between three numbers. So this is nested if else. If else present in another if else statement. Okay. Another if or another else also you can tell like that. So that is nesting of if else. Okay. So next we will be having elif statement. So elif statement will be used when we have no else condition. At that time we can use elif statement. Okay, you can see. So if you are using if statement, we can use else statement, okay, to that if statement. But if the conditions are more, okay, and if you don't want to use any other else part, then you can go with elif, multiple ifs. Okay. So this is elif part. Okay. If you are having multiple if statements, then it is called elif part. Okay. Next comes the looping statements. Okay. So in looping statements, we have we can first learn algorithms and flowcharts, how looping will happen in the form of algorithm and flowchart, and then you can study the concepts. That will be easier for a beginner. Okay. For intermediate person who are already aware and who has little bit of experience, then directly go to the syntax part and the actual part. Okay. So in looping statements we have two parts. One is for loop, the other one is while loop. So in for loop, when we can use for loop, when we can use while loop. So when we have certain conditions. Okay, certain condition. Okay. So till this condition is satisfied, we will execute while loop. So while condition will be used until a certain condition is true. So until that condition is true, we will use while loop. We will use for loop when that should repeat for certain number of times. Okay. So we have some specific number of times. That means if you know number of iterations, you can go with for loop. Else we can go with while loop. Okay. This can be also case. Okay. So these are the syntax. So now let us come to the practical part. Okay. So range function is also there while using for loop also, that we will see. Okay. So let us come to the practical part of this. Okay, so in this practical part we will be seeing some string functions first. Okay, some string functions, then we will go to this while loop, for loop. Okay, okay, so string, so you all know what is string, right? So in string, how to use string, right? All these things here, right? So string manipulations also first we will start, so that we will complete string related part. Then we'll come to while, for loop, condition statements. Okay, yeah. So let us take one variable a equal to some string. Okay, okay, this is Python programming. Anyone can learn this program. Okay, so let me take this sentence. Okay, so now what I will do, shift enter to execute it. Okay, so first cell it will take time, then remaining cells it will be very easy. Okay, so you can add here text also. Let me move this up. Okay, string. Okay, string and its functions. String and its functions. Okay, so here we can do string functions. Okay, so what we can do, print. Let me print first a. Let me print that a string. Okay, so this is getting print. So if I want to convert this into uppercase, lowercase, title case, I can do it. Okay, so I can use simply print upper of what? Upper of a. Then you execute it. Upper is not defined. Okay, then you can use title. Name title is not defined. Okay, a of title. Okay, so you can do some more manipulations of string. Okay, I will show you. Okay, so yeah, it's showing a dot capitalize. Okay, okay, it is showing IntelliSense. Need not worry. Okay, okay, so a dot capitalize means what? So a is getting capitalize. Okay, so let me try different functions also. Print a dot lower. Okay, lower function. So in this case, you see, lower means all are in lower case. So now you type upper, print a dot upper. So all will be in uppercase. You can see. Okay, so similarly you can use print a dot title. So in this case, see what it will happen. So in this, see, it is coming in the form of title. So means, so starting letter will be capital, so remaining all will be in small letters. So lower means all lower, upper means all capital, capitalize means only the starting letter of the sentence will be capital. Okay, so these are some functions that we can apply on the sentence or paragraph. Okay. So next, let me type print. Let me check data type of it. Type of A. So then what will happen? String. Okay. So it is showing string. Next, print length of A. So let me check length of A. Length of A. So see, so the length will be 53. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. So including space also, if you count, so it will be 53. Okay. So that means it is counting everything. So now if I want to print from this to this only, instead of whole sentence, if I call A, I want to print from here to here only. Okay. So how do you do that? In that case, you have a concept called slicing. Okay. Slicing means breaking the output into chunks. Okay. Slicing strings. Okay. Chunks. Okay. That means breaking into parts. Okay. So in this case, what we'll do? Print A of. So what we will do? We'll take. So here generally we have 2 columns. Okay. So one for giving increment. So one for starting. The second place we will be for terminating. Okay. A plus 1. So it should be A plus 1. So increment can be anything. Okay. So let me run it. Invalid syntax. Okay. So starting from, let it be 0. If I give 0, what has happened? So then also it is showing here. So how do I slice then? So print A of, I think I can use this bracket. So let me try it. Okay. So here, so starting will be starting of the, from where you want to start to print. Okay. So if I don't give anything, so by default it will consider from the 0th index. Okay. So if I specify, like if I specify any indexed position, if I specify for index as 2, then see is, so it is starting from the is. Okay. Index of 2, 0, 1, 2, and then it is going till end of the sentence. Okay. So compulsory you need to give these parameters. If you don't give, what happens? By default it will take 0 as the index position. So see, so if I'm not giving any value here, so by default it will take 0. So if similarly if I don't give any value, it will take value as n plus 1. Okay. So increment, it will be default 1. Okay. So these are the default values that is taken in Python. So now you see, now I want to print. If you execute this, I need to get all. Okay. So now you see, starting from 1, ending with say suppose 11. Okay. So in this case, what happens? So starting from 1 index to, so from 0 index to 10 indexes, it will be getting printed. Okay. So you can see this. So from starting till 10 indexes, it will get printed. So if you increment, so total there are 53, right? As you have seen here. So my increment, if I want to use full text, I need to give n plus 1. So then in that case, I can use 54. Okay. Because I have 54 letters. Now my increment will be 2. So in this case, what happens? So it is printing a 1 letter, then it is skipping 2 characters, then it is executing the other characters. So the size is 2. Okay. You can see here. Okay. So this is T. After T, h is skipped because increment is 2. Okay, so second increment is getting printed. Okay, so if my increment is 5, so what happens? So you can see, so after t 1 2 3 4 5, so you can see white space is also considered. So that's why till I it is coming 5th, so I is getting printed. So in this way you can slice the string. Okay, so we have 3 parameters. So we have 3 parameters here. We have 3 parameters. One is start, one is end, one is start, end, and increment. We have these 3 parameters. By default 0, default n+1, default 1. Okay, these are the default values. So apart from these default values, you can give your own values also. Okay, so that is can be also done. Okay, I hope you understood. So and understood, you can perform some more operations also, string of index. Okay, so like this you can perform some string operations. So I hope it is clear.
Like, share, comment, and subscribe VNR Digital Learning Resource YouTube channel.